What happens when a receiver comes in motion like this and winds up behind two other receivers? It causes confusion by the defense, and then he just simply shot right back out in the flat, catches the ball, makes a great run, and then, of course, you see his quarterback loves it, and then he turns around to his coach right there and says, hey, great call. Everybody did a good job there.
Meanwhile, the Rocket, Raghib Ismail, takes the kickoff return from Jacke, gets it across the 35, but Sterling Sharpe, that 23-yard strike puts him over the 100-yard mark for the 5th time this season, 24 career, as you look at the scoring drive. And right now, Sterling Sharpe has 105 receptions this season. He may get that mark of 108 he set last year and maybe surpass it. Meanwhile, the Raiders, they're also looking for a playoff spot, a wild card spot. They trail it 14-0, 1st and 10 from the 36. And Hostetler feels the pressure. Tony Bennett just ran over Hostetler. 5th sack of the year for Bennett.
Green Bay's been good pressure all day anyway, Dan. And now that down 14-0, really, I think Green Bay's just saying, hey, we're not going to worry about the run. Raiders have not been able to run, and they're putting tremendous pressure. It looks like in this case they may have got Haas in this case, because I tell you, that was a big hit when he came in there, Dan, the way he hit him. You see Art Shell coming out to check out his quarterback.
I was going to say, you don't see Art Shell come out of the field much at all, but he's out there now as Hostetler is still down. And Vince Evans, the 14-year veteran out of USC, has begun to warm up on the sidelines.
We talked about before the game that really we felt like the offense, when you talk to everybody with the Raiders, that it was going to fall on Hostetler's shoulders. And here he's trying to make a play. And see, he just held the ball there, Dan. When you hold the ball that long, and that means that things are covered downfield. And you get your quarterback, anytime you don't go back and right now set, throw, and you start holding that ball and working that ball in your hands like that, the pass rush is having a chance to get to you. He didn't even see him coming from his blind side.
Hostetler, in the process, the hit by Bennett, fumbled the football, and it was the right tackle, a heads-up play by Bruce Wilkerson, who recovered it. But Bennett, with his 5th sack of the year, has put the Raiders in a deep hole, 2nd down and 16, and it's good to see Haas at least upright, but you can see by the expression on his face.
Yeah. You got a good picture there of his eyes. I think he's dazed a little bit right now. He was looking to his left. Never saw the pass rush coming from the right. And that's the reason why quarterbacks these guys have to be mentally tough, Dan. They're normally in positions where they're not defending themselves. In other words, he's not like a offensive lineman or a linebacker here looking to defend himself. He's trying to throw a football, and as he starts forward to throw, gets hit in a bad position right there. That's how you can get hurt.
The Energizer battery. It keeps going, and
I don't get it. Some guy bats .228 and makes $3 million bucks.
Can you imagine what Willie Mays would be worth today?
Yeah.
No holiday sweepstakes.
Another Heineken, right?
Yeah, please.
No blimp with our name on it. No racing team.
Hey, Mays.
None of that is what made Heineken the #1 imported beer in America.
Where's all that money come from?
Ticket prices.
Yeah, I guess.
And all those beer commercials.
There's a little rugged individualist in all of us, and nothing brings that out quite like a truck. And nobody brings you a truck quite like Chevrolet. Make your money count on CK with low 2.9% APR financing until January 4th. After all, Chevy trucks are the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. Being rugged could really catch on, don't you think? Make your money count. See your local Chevy Geo dealer today. Event ends January 4th.
The good news for the Raiders is that quarterback Jeff Hostetler has made his way off the field. And now Vince Evans, the 38-year-old former 6th-round draft pick of the Chicago Bears back in 1977, will take over for the Raiders in 9 below-degree wind chill factor weather. This is his 8th appearance of the season. He's appeared in 8 games for Los Angeles, but a tall order here. The Raiders down 14-0, but he completes his first pass, and it's to Randy Jordan, the free agent out of North Carolina, and Jordan burns off a huge gain, and he's all the way down inside the 40, down to the 37.
There's 2 kinds of plays you like to use to take off the pressure on the pass rush, Dan. One is the draw. The second one is a screen, and that's exactly that's a good call here for the Raiders. They come out knowing that the Packers are going to be pass rushing. Let them come, drop the ball off on a screen. That's going to cause Green Bay now to have to want to play, hey, more cautious, peel an end off, or play some kind of man-to-man coverage.
Vince Evans comes off a cold bench, and on his first play from scrimmage, gets the 33-yard connection to Randy Jordan. Just Jordan's 2nd reception of the season. Evans standing in there, and this time he'll go down. Reggie White.
What's really tough here, too, Dan, think about Vince Evans sitting on the sideline for a half, freezing over there, coming in the game and now having to play. What's Reggie on the bull rush right here? Is that a classic example of taking a guy and just walking him back? And the guys that he's walking back there weigh 300 pounds. That's what's amazing about that.
2nd sack of the afternoon for Reggie White. And now it's 2nd down and 20 for the Raiders. The ball moved back to the 47. Hostetler still a little woozy on the sidelines. And Evans can run. And he gets knocked at the 45. Took a tremendous shot. But the 38-year-old bounces up off the frozen turf. And a Packer is down injured. That is Tony Bennett, flat on his back at the 45. And perhaps it was Bennett who put the hit on Vince Evans.
Well, you see the pressure here again. Now, Evans is a good runner and a good scrambler. He gets out of the pocket. Guess who's chasing him there? 92. Run fast, Vince. That guy's 310 pounds. He can run about 4.6 himself.
I tell you, I wouldn't have given Vince Evans much of a chance to get up and walk away from that one. So it's instead Tony Bennett, 6'2", 243-yard linebacker, who put the hit on Evans, who's slow in getting up.
Well, we're seeing guys lay it on the line here. Bennett gets a big head on Hostetler. Now he comes all the way back across the field. He gets hit. We're carrying him off here in Green Bay, I tell you.
Hostetler warming up on the sidelines, trying to get his thoughts together after the huge sack just a few moments ago. 4th sack of the afternoon, and Hostetler has had a rough afternoon in frozen weather at Lambeau Field. 7:35 left, 3rd down and 17 for the Raiders. Evans flushed again, and he's looking for James Jett, and it's incomplete.
Great play by Vince Evans. I got to tell you, Dan, he got out of the pocket right there, scrambled all the way out to the outside and made a great throw on the run, and actually has the ball in Jett's hands. Look at the pressure here. You see White coming from this side this time. A good job by Vince Evans stepping up and eluding the rush there on Reggie White, making a great throw on the run.
I believe the penalty on Vince Evans was that he threw the ball across the line of scrimmage.
Los Angeles, 5 yards, loss of down.
Indeed, that is the call. They lose the down. The penalty of 5 yards, so that brings up 4th and 17.
As this sun goes down, Dan, too, you're going to start to see the shadows now are all the way out at almost half to the 50-yard line. As we take a look at Evans here and see if he is across the line of scrimmage. Yep, it looks like he is. A good 2 yards. But as this sun goes down, it's going to get colder and colder. This field's going to really ice up. as the shadows here and the sun goes down over the stadium.
Well, Mike Pryor for Green Bay stands in the shadows at the 10. Jeff Gossett's punt, low spiraling shot that goes out of bounds. And they will mark it at the the 17-yard line. 7:19 left in the third quarter. Green Bay up by 14.
There are times you can feel your body heat rising. Fortunately, there's Degree Antiperspirant. It's body heat activated. Every time your body heat rises, Degree releases extra protection.
Great, you made it.
Degree, your body heat turns it on.
Numbers I like to share.
Love her, hold her, and remember our simple formula. At Dean Witter,
we measure success one investor at a time.
Back at Lambeau Field, Dan Hicks along with Joe Gibbs, and we've watched for the last several moments Jeff Gossett, the Raider punter, extremely upset on the sidelines. Exactly what he's upset about, we're really not sure. An update from Soldier Field, the Lions and Bears tied at 13. Detroit, along with Green Bay, one of all the teams in the NFC Central, Joe, that still have a shot at the NFC Central crown. Amazing that 4 teams and all the records are so mediocre.
It is. You know, when we talk to the coaches, too, like Mike Holmgren and Art Shell, when you talk to them, I can tell you what a coach's mindset is, and that is, look, we got to win 2 games. That's when I asked Mike Holmgren, I says, how do you feel about where you are in the season? He says, we got to win 2 games. That's all you got. That's the only way we're looking at it. Same thing with Art Shell. And that's exactly what's happening in Detroit and Minnesota. Everybody's saying the exact same thing.
Well, the Bears just kicked an extra point. They lead it 14-13 now at Soldier Field. And this is Darrell Thompson on the first down call, and Thompson gets it close to the 25. Ed West, the tight end, with a nice block, which enabled Thompson to get outside. As we continue to look at some of the other scores, Jets on top of Buffalo. There is the Bear update in the fourth quarter. The Lions tied atop the NFC Central at 8-6 to start the day, and Philadelphia moving beyond New Orleans now 24-19, and that's also one of the games that is significant. If the Packers can win today and a loss or tie for the Saints, Green Bay would be in the playoffs. Second down and 3. This is Thompson again left side, and he'll get across the 25. And let's head back to our NFL Live studios. Visit once again with Jim Lampley.
And take a look at that Patriot juggernaut, Dan. This touchdown by Leonard Russell in the third quarter in New England gives the Patriots a 31-0 lead, the most points they've scored in 22 games. They're gunning for their 3rd straight victory, and we remind you, this is the 93 Patriots, not the 66 Packers, Dan.
Thanks for clarifying that, Jim Lampley. Here at Lambeau Field, the 93 version of the Packers up 14-0. The report on Jeff Hostetler is that he is dizzy and still feeling a little woozy on 3rd down and 1. Darrell Thompson, I believe, is short of the first down marker for Green Bay.
Well, we talked about this is one of the times in the game, this is what we were talking about, when you need to run the football. I mean, you're up 14-0. You want to eat the clock up. You're deep in your own territory. That's the reason why the running game, no matter what we say about passing and the quarterbacks and all that, you need to run the game in December. You need the running game to go in December. And those are the kind of teams that will wind up doing well in the playoffs, ones that they're well-balanced and can run. And you've seen several times today that Green Bay's got in trouble, and so are the Raiders on 3rd and shorts. They can't pick it up running.
Well, the Packers short of the first down. The Raiders, we mentioned 25th in the NFL in rushing, and the Packers not much better at 22. Tim Brown calls for the fair catch at the 38. So really 2 rushing attacks, Joe, on the field today that haven't done much at all.
Yeah, and I can tell you from Al Davis's mindset, and he is the central thread on this team right here. He's been the one that's gone through that organization for years and years and years. He's a very unusual guy. He's really owner, coach, general manager, a little bit of everything in certain ways. Don't take anything away from their coaching staff. But he believes in running the football, and they've got themselves in a situation this year where they can't run. And I know that is not the Raiders' game plan, mindset.
Well, you saw Vince Evans run onto the field again. He is in for Jeff Hostetler, who is still dazed on the Raiders sideline. This time Evans will begin 1st and 10 from the 39, and he'll throw on first down to the near side. Tim Brown looks like he picked up the first down. Needed to get across the 49 close to midfield. Terrell Buckley on the coverage of Tim Brown.
You're going to see just a simple hitch route on the outside here. And with Green Bay playing back, that's a very effective route. I'll tell you, Vince Evans has pulled off some miracles in his life. They're certainly going to ask him to pull one off right here. Down 14-0, frozen field, been on the sidelines for a half. This is tough coming in and operating the quarterback right here. This will be a monumental task for Vince Evans.
Raiders have the first down, close to midfield. Evans complete, and this is James Jett, and he's got another Raider first down. This time it's down to the Packer 37.
Okay, this is that little stop route that we've been talking about all day. When you play off the way the Green Bay is right here, a very effective route is just down the field and then hook behind the linebacker, and you see him slide on behind the linebackers. We see both teams use that route. It's very effective on zone coverage. And Green Bay here's playing fairly cautious right now. They've got a 14-point lead. They're probably going to have to jump back up, play a little man coverage to take some of those things away from the Raiders.
12-yard pickup for Jett. Evans pressured this time, just throwing it downfield in the vicinity of Tim Brown. But Buckley thought he had an interception and made a valiant effort to pick it off, but it is incomplete.
That was a great effort.
What a try by Buckley.
It sure was. He looked like a receiver right here. Who's the receiver here? Buckley looks like he's played it before. Comes down and the ball's right in his hands, but at the end there he looked like a DB.
And Buckley, who was the #1 pick last year out of Florida State, caught a little bit of heat this week. He gave up 2 touchdowns to the Vikings' Chris Carter last week. But he was with Tim Brown step for step right there, the all-time interception leader for the Seminoles. 2nd down and 10, and this is Napoleon McCallum. And McCallum inside the 30, down to about the 28, close to another first down before he's brought down by LeRoy Butler.
I tell you, Napoleon's given them a spark a couple of times on the few times that they have made some yards. I tell you what, I think I might leave him in there and start feeding him the ball, see if he can get something going here on the ground too. I think Vince Evans is playing extremely well so far. I'd leave Napoleon in there and let him carry that thing a little bit.
Well, Nick Bell has come on to the backfield for the Raiders. Evans 3 for 4 for 57 yards in relief of Hostetler. 3rd down and 2, or call it a long one. Evans trying to run for the first down, but he'll be sacked, and Tony Bennett picks it up. 2nd of the game, his 6th of the season.
Okay, big decision right here now. It's 4th down. What do you do if you're Art Shell right here? You're down 14 points, 2:59 in the 3rd, and you're looking at about a 4th down, 3 or 4. This is why I'm glad I'm up here and Art Shell is down there.
If you were down there,
he's freezing and got to make decisions like this.
If you were down there, what do you do?
I think right here you got to go for it.
Exactly what the Raiders are doing. 4th down and 3. Steve Smith is the lone setback, but he'll try to protect for Vince Evans. Lofting it up for James Jett. Incomplete. Sammy Walker, the coverage on Jett, and Green Bay will take over on downs with 2 minutes and 31 seconds left in the 3rd.
Hey, a guts call here, Dan. Green Bay came up and they went all for nothing. They went with the blitz right there. I'm really surprised at that, and did a heck of a job with it. As we see Green Bay come to the line of scrimmage. Watch the 2 linebackers here on the blitz along with the 5 interior rushers. I'm surprised to see that at this point. I tell you, that was a guts call on Green Bay, because they could have given up a quick touchdown right there if Vince Evans hits this. It wasn't that far away. Gutsy call by Green Bay. You got to know when to hold them and when to fold them. That was a good call by the defensive coaches there, taking a chance, made it pay off.
Green Bay has sacked the Raider quarterbacks already 6 times today. Favre rolling to his right, and unable to make the reception at the 45 was Ed West. So that'll bring up 2nd down and 10 for Green Bay. 2:26 left in the third. Green Bay up 14-0.
I think what you like to do here is run the football. And I think the other thing that the running game gives you, Dan, is you don't have the incompletions like we saw right there and stop that clock. I mean, when you got that ball run and you're rushing with it, the clock continues to run, and that's what Green Bay would like to have happen right now. Eat that clock away. I know it seems like forever for Mike Holmes, but this third quarter's gone on forever.
2nd down and 10. This is Thompson trying to turn the corner on the far side. He'll get up to the 32. The update on injured quarterback Jeff Hostetler, a concussion, and he will continue to be evaluated. In the meantime, Vince Evans has taken over for him. So we'll see if it's left up to Vince Evans for the remainder of this game to try to get the Raiders a crucial win here. Art Shell needs a win here. It's not that they're out of it if they lose today, but their 6-5 conference record really puts them in jeopardy if they drop one of their last 2 games. Favre's pass on 3rd and 8 almost picked off by Derek Hoskins. It was intended for Sterling Sharpe.
I think at the last second here, Brett Favre saw a Raider from the inside and did a good job of pulling that ball down and putting it right into the ground, because I tell you, that was dangerous right there. The Raiders had a free safety sitting in the middle. He was ready to break on anything, and Brett Favre made a good decision there. It's what Mike Holmes talked about. He just needs to pick up confidence as he goes and experience as he goes, and that was an example of making a good play right there.
Tim Brown, will he get a chance? No, it'll run by him down to the 23, so not a bad punt at all for Brian Wagner. As a little scuffle and extracurricular activity emerges at about the 35-yard line. Broken up in a hurry. And there's another look at the playoff picture. A win today and a loss by the Steelers, Jets, and a Chiefs win over the Broncos clinches a berth for Los Angeles. But Art Shell says we can't worry about what the rest of the guys are doing. We got to win.
Art Shell just says, let's win, baby, win. That's what it...
And the playoff picture for the Packers: win the last 2. They are the division champions. Win today, coupled by either a loss by the Saints, Vikings, or Lions, gets Mike Holmgren into the playoff picture. And that would be a huge accomplishment.
Yes, it would. And I know that there's going to be a lot of people here celebrating if that scenario comes up today.
Well, Vince Evans and the Raiders set up at the 22. Evans with time, and he's got the rocket, Raghib Ismail, and he's to the 27 for a gain of 5. That'll bring up about 2nd down and 5 as the scores continue to roll on the second to last weekend in the NFL. The Jets 14-13 leaders over Buffalo. Chicago continues with the 1-point advantage over the Lions. Eagles up by 5 over New Orleans. And the Bengals beating Atlanta in the 4th quarter. And the Patriots and Bill Parcells on their way to a 31-0 win there. Vince Evans looking for rocket, and Ismail picks up the Raider 1st down. Darrell Buckley on the coverage. But Vince Evans, 38 years old, has been very impressive so far in his early relief role here for Hostetler.
Yeah, he actually seems to have given the Raider offense a little spark here. I think he's playing extremely well, Dan. That was a good throw right there, all the way to the sideline. You notice on the play before that, though, that I think Green Bay's done a good job all day against the Raiders of kind of making the quarterback hold the ball back there for a while and just allowing the pass rush to get to him. What you want to see happen is the quarterback to get back and hit and throw. Get rid of it.
This is McCallum. And McCallum, the second effort, up close to midfield. Needed to get to the 50-yard line for the first down as time expires in the third quarter. And after 3 quarters, Green Bay still with a 14-0 lead.
Based on the miraculous true stories of the heroes of the San Francisco earthquake.
He's alive.
Miracle on I-880 NBC tonight.
The GMC Jimmy is already loaded with a powerful V6 engine and 4-wheel anti-lock brakes, standard. And now we've dropped in a few extras, like leather trim, reclining seats, a soft ride suspension, a great stereo, tinted glass, and lots more. Now, how do we load you into a Jimmy? With this limited time cashback offer.
See your Heartland GMC truck dealer.
Update your kitchen with help from Menards. Custom countertops are available in 12 distinct edge styles. Choose from hundreds of colors starting at $588 a foot for modern or no drip edge. Top off your countertop with a cast iron sink from Elger. This white double bowl sink is $138. This gourmet triple bowl sink is $338. Remodel your kitchen and save at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
Happy holidays. 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 Ameritech asks, need a special way to say it? Then say it.
Happy holidays, Linda. Only 2 shopping days left.
With a greeting call instead of a card. The personal way to say happy holidays. The greeting call from Ameritech.
Catch 15 Sports for local sports coverage.
This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the NFL is prohibited.
Well, I know it's cold, Joe. I just checked the coffee that I put up here just on the table, and it's frozen. I haven't been able to take a sip of it for a quarter or so, but and look at the water out there. But it's got to be cold if your coffee you're drinking freezes up. Second down and 1 for the Raiders. The ball at the 49. And Evans will get the first down. Ball was at the 44. He needed to get just across the 45, and Vince Evans picks up the first down for Los Angeles. As we look at what Green Bay's defense has done the first 9 games, in the last 8 games today, 6 sacks.
Well, the defense has had a heck of a day, and particularly pressuring the Raider quarterbacks. Both defenses played well, and the pass rush has been good on both sides.
And this update from Soldier Field, Detroit has taken a 20-14 lead over the Bears. Eric Kramer has just thrown a touchdown pass. Vince Evans' pass on the far side, incomplete. It was the rookie Randy Jordan not able to gain possession. So that brings up second down and 10.
I tell you, they're keeping in extra guys now in pass protection. The Raiders are. Man, the back stepped up that time, and I mean leveled one of the pass rushers. I think the Raiders now are keeping more guys in to try and help Evans in this case and try and shore up the pass protection. They're keeping their backs in to try and help.
And we've just been told that Jeff Hostetler has been taken to the hospital for observation. So it'll be Vince Evans the rest of the way. And Evans gets the pass off, but hit at the 37 was Randy Jordan, and LeRoy Butler picks up the loose ball. There's been no indication of a touchdown.
The Raiders are saying the ball was down. back at the 28.
Butler gets the touchdown. How about that?
I don't think Art Shell believes it. I think the ball was taken away from the back right at the line of scrimmage. It's hard to understand exactly what did happen.
Well, here it is again.
Screen. Let's take a look.
LeRoy Butler made the hit on Jordan.
Gosh, it looked to me like
and
he
then
was
the
down.
lateral from Reggie White back to LeRoy Butler.
It sure looked like that ball should have been ruled down. I mean, when that ball came loose, they were laying flat on his back on the ground.
What a play by Reggie White. The presence of mind to lateral it back to Butler. The Packers, with a touchdown by Butler, are up 20-0, now 21-0. 13:57 left.
Hello.
So, what'd you think of that Bonneville? Did you drive it?
Oh, that SSCI is terrific.
Yeah.
Supercharged, traction control, ABS, dual airbags, leather. What a car.
I told you.
And you were right. It's thousands less than the BMW or the Lexus.
Well?
I'm picking it up tomorrow. I owe you one, pal.
Okay. I'll take a white one.
Golf. Football. Golf. Now, football.
Let's watch both.
Miller Lite presents Full Contact Golf. Yeah! We're still on the first hole, Bob, and this is Davis teeing it up. Here's the drive. It is blocked! Brought to you by Miller Lite. If you can combine great taste and less filling, you can combine anything. Oh, he's got daylight going for the green. Here's the putt. There's the blitz. It's good! Yeah! Oh, good beer. Great taste, less filling. Can your beer do this?
Before you thought to dream, Canon had a vision. Before you have a problem, Canon has the solution. We have a way of looking ahead to give your office unlimited possibilities right now. When the rest say you can't, Canon says you can. Canon. Now you can.
This is a screen pass. You see Jordan step up. We've seen it several times today, and then tries to slide out. He gets the ball and is hit almost as he gets it. He's on his back, and the ball kicks up in the air, and nobody can find it. Reggie White winds up with it, pitches it back, a touchdown. Unbelievable. How many times have you seen Reggie White in some kind of a wild play like that? He's a defensive lineman.
I tell you,
How does he get that many balls?
Reggie White has been everywhere today. And now, Dan Turk recovers it from the Raiders at the 27. So Reggie White with a lateral to LeRoy Butler, and Butler with the 25-yard return for the touchdown. It has been long overdue since 1973. Every NFL team has reached the playoffs except the Packers. This excludes the strike season. If Green Bay is able to hang on and get some help today, they will be in the playoffs.
Reggie White, we're playing in Philadelphia when he was with Philadelphia. He knocked Jay Schrader all the way underneath our bench. Joe Bugle was our line coach, went over and called him all kinds of names. We go out and we're coaching in the Pro Bowl the same year. Reggie White gets there late because of bad weather in Philadelphia, climbs on the bus as we go to practice, walked all the way back, found Joe Bugle, and he says to him, "I remember all those names you called me that day on that sideline." We called Reggie White a lot of names when we were in Washington, all those plays he made against us.
Well, maybe Reggie White was due as we look at Todd Peake walking off the field, shaken up. The backup left guard for Los Angeles, also a special teams player for the Raiders. But Reggie White was sackless in his last 4 games for the Packers, and for the first time in his career was in danger of maybe playing more games than a season than garnering sacks. Well, now he's up to 12.5 sacks on the season with his 2 today, so he may have a chance of rectifying that number. Look at the line on Reggie White today.
The way he's going right now, he's hot now, Dan. I would not want to be the quarterback taking the snap opposite from him right now.
So with
I think he smells blood here. He's going for it.
Hostetler in the hospital, or at the hospital. Vince Evans from the 27, passing on first downs, got Tim Brown, and he's into Packer territory to the 48. George Teague, the free safety, put the wraps on Tim Brown, who is having his finest season ever. Another look at the former Heisman Trophy winner.
This is catching the ball deep inside, just an in route, versus the zone coverage by the Packers. Now, the Packers are laying back a little bit right here. They're playing more cautious. That's the kind of route, though, that hurts a cautious zone coverage like that, is those deep in routes, because they wind up being 20 or 30 yards, Dan, after you catch them deep and then run with them.
Gain of 12 for Tim Brown. Evans' pass is picked off. Wayne Simmons. Second interception in the young career of Wayne Simmons, the #1 draft pick, the rookie out of Clemson. And the Packers leading 21-0. We'll be right back.
I'll tell you where the time goes. Every year I spend 3,000 hours sleeping, 500 hours commuting, 2,000 hours working. Then I get this idea, boing. Every day for lunch I order one of McDonald's extra value meals. Now, I'm not only saving money, I'm in and out so fast, I figure I'm saving 5-6 hours a week, huh? That's nearly 2 weeks of free time a year. So, in 12 months, I'm going to have all this extra cash, plus 2 extra weeks. And right now, I'm thinking Hawaii.
What you want is what you get.
What?
At McDonald's today.
The water on the left is being heated by electricity, on the right by natural gas. For the cost of heating this much water with electricity, we'd like to show you how much more you can get with gas. So why settle for the water on the left when natural gas gives you all that hot water on the right? Clean natural gas, America's best energy value.
So, where's the boss today? Picked up his new car. What'd he get? The BMW? The Lexus?
Neither. He got the Bonneville.
Really?
Said it had anti-lock brakes, leather, dual airbags. Said with all that and the way it drives, he couldn't see spending 10 to 20 grand more.
He likes bargains.
He likes cars.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Rayovac Renewal. Reusable alkaline power. That's the power of renewal. By Pontiac and your local Pontiac dealer. We are driving excitement. By Schick Tracer. It traces every curve on your face. And by Canon, a world leader in office equipment.
Well, the Packers could be on the verge of a playoff berth, and some of the fans celebrating shirtless.
I tell you what, if I was still coaching, I'd be trying to draft those 4 guys. They are mentally tough, being shirtless out there on a day like this. You need them on the field playing.
Green Bay up 21-0, 13 minutes left. Edgar Bennett is swarmed behind the line of scrimmage, but we've been emphasizing it all game long. A Packers win plus a loss or tie by one of 3 teams, and the Philadelphia Eagles are seemingly on their way to a victory over New Orleans. The score is 30-19 in the 4th quarter, and the Saints with a loss was one of those teams combined with a Packer win, which would put Green Bay into the playoffs. Another look at the interception by Vince Evans a moment ago.
Now, this route is the same one that these teams have been using, that little curl route. You see the receiver back there, but the danger is trying to throw it in those seams. In this case, Vince Evans gets caught by the linebacker making a good play.
Well, this time it is Thompson with some daylight, and one man to beat. Nolan Harrison won't get it. Touchdown, Packers. 60 yards. The third touchdown of the season for Darrell Thompson. Goes 60 yards, and Green Bay has turned it into a blowout with 12:07 left.
Well, this is where the running game, let's take a look at it. This is a great job of cutting back, getting in secondary, and of course here, just great speed. But Green Bay's put it all together today. They've thrown the ball, Favre's made some good plays, and now they're getting some added running, which is something they have really missed.
Some movement on the Packer offensive line as Jacke tried to tack on the extra point. We mentioned earlier in the game that Darrell Thompson had the team's longest run from scrimmage, which was 28 yards. That was a 60-yard jaunt, the longest of his career, and of course the longest run on the season for the Packers, and it has put them up 27-0 as Jacke will have to attempt the point after, 5 yards back.
What do you think? You think Mike Holmes excited? All right, man. He's excited.
Packers just missed the playoffs last year as Jacke puts on the extra point, and it's point number 28. The Raiders have nothing.
Since your face can't adjust to your razor should adjust to your face, which is exactly why we designed the Schick Tracer. The Schick Tracer is the only razor with blades that bend and flex to the unique shape of your face. So the Tracer gets in close for a clean, comfortable shave. And since you can't change your face, maybe you should change your razor. Schick, we're changing the face of shaving.
All-Pro quarterback Dan Marino.
When the game is over and the pain starts, I want two things from my pain-relieving rub: fast relief and no odor. So I use Sports Cream, a strong pain-relieving rub that doesn't make me smell like a medicine chest. I just massage in Sports Cream for fast, odor-free relief. Cream or lotion, Sports Cream sure gets my vote for most valuable pain reliever.
Is Bennett? He's a service manager at Saturn Shreveport.
Hello, Mr. Marchdale. How are you doing, sir? We're going to have a good barbecue.
Every month, Russ invites all the new Saturn owners in and tells them about their car. Russ just wants to make sure we know how everything works on the car.
We're going to cover the right and wrong way to change a flat.
I definitely could change a tire now and change my oil.
Any questions while I'm going along, Ray?
He's a pretty neat guy. I guess you just have to get to know Russ.
Does that man ever fill up?
He has unusual hair, Russ does.
Did everybody get enough barbecue to eat?
How could Homicide, the best of '93, get any better? Robin Williams guest stars in the season premiere of Homicide.
I just stood there and I watched him kill my wife.
The Emmy-winning best show of the new season.
You tell me who did it. I'll identify them.
Robin Williams in The Return of Homicide, NBC, Thursday, January 6th.
It is a final from Soldier Field. Detroit beats the Bears 20-14, so the NFC Central Division title will come down to next week as the Raider return man, Willie Gault, returns it into Packer territory, but the NFC Central title coming down to the Silver Dome in Pontiac next weekend in Detroit.
We're playing against Willie Gault. Our special teams coach made the statement, Wayne Severi said, look, we're going to show them how tough we are. We're going to kick to their best guy and tackle him and get this game started right. We kicked off to Willie Gault. He ran it back 102 yards against us. I said, well, so much proving how tough we are. I tell you, this guy has tremendous speed. The Raiders are loaded with speed. Of course, all those receivers can run. We talked about that during the day.
Yes, the Ice Bowl, the coldest game. I don't know if it's any colder than this game today, though, Joe. It's -9 degrees wind chill factor. Evans under pressure, and he gets it away to Tim Brown. And Brown has a first down at the Packer 30. Terrell Buckley on the coverage of Brown. Buffalo up on the Jets. And there's the final, Detroit's win over Chicago.
Hurry up offense. This is smart right here with a little over 11 minutes to go. The Raiders' only chance will go to hurry up and try and get a couple of scores.
And this one will fall well short of the target intended for James Jett. And I guess it's appropriate that the NFC Central title, Joe, would come down to the final weekend.
Last year, Green Bay had a chance to go to the playoffs in the last game and were beaten in Minnesota. So I know this excites everybody here. And they've been publishing all week that there's extra fines for coming on the field. Some of the things have been happening in colleges, Dan, with everybody getting hurt on the field after games. I know they cautioned the fans here. They want everybody to stay off, nobody to get hurt here on the celebration.
Evans escapes for the moment and simply throws it away. So that will bring up third down. But what an accomplishment for Mike Holmgren in his second year as the Packers in the playoffs.
You see the pressure again by Green Bay. That's been the story all day. I tell you what, these guys have played great. Great pressure on the Raiders. And a good example of it there again. And that is Bryce Pop applying the pressure. Pop moved into the left inside linebacker position. This guy right here, Mike Holmgren's coached his team the first time since 1966-67 they've had back-to-back winning seasons. What a story. Evans pass over the outstretched hands of Tim Brown, and that will bring up fourth down and 10, but I'm sure we'll see the Raiders go for it. But getting back to the point I was going to make about the Packer defensive linebacking core, George Kuntz suffered a hairline fracture in his left foot, has not played today, so Bryce Pop has been moved into the inside linebacker position, and the rookie out of Clemson, Wayne Simmons, number 59, has moved into the starting role at left outside linebacker. So it has been a beat-up Packer defense which has done the job defensively on the Raiders today. And this time Evans' pass is complete to the big tight end Ethan Horton. It'll be short, and Green Bay will take over on downs, and it'll give the fans a chance here at Lambeau Field, a chance to celebrate a playoff berth.
My husband, the big football coach, well, sure he acts tough, but when he got the flu, I knew he felt it just like the rest of us. Body aches, fever, coughing. So I made sure that he got new Tylenol Flu.
Only new Tylenol Flu has maximum strength medicines and extra strength Tylenol brand pain reliever to fight even your worst flu symptoms.
Tylenol Flu really got him back on his feet.
Nothing fights the flu like new Tylenol Flu.
You know, he may be the coach on the field, but at home, I'm the team doctor.
The reason for coming to Texas was to teach at the law school and also to raise our boys in a more rural place. We needed a pickup. The 5% we earned with our GM MasterCard helped us get one. We used the truck to haul our cows, our kids. They love Texas life. There's lots of room for them to run around. We exclusively use the GM MasterCard now. We're earning 5% toward our next car. Another pickup would be nice.
The GM card with no annual fee. To apply, call 1-800-8GM-CARD.
New Year's Day on NBC. The #1 Nebraska Cornhuskers battle Heisman winner Charlie Ward and the #2 Florida State Seminoles. Tom Osborne faces Bobby Bowden. Two coaching greats each in pursuit of their first national title. It's a primetime showdown for the national championship. The Federal Express Orange Bowl, New Year's Day on NBC.
Well, 9 degrees below, the wind chill factor, all sorts of ways of trying to keep those hands warm, Joe Gibbs, and you had a chance to visit the Packer locker room and pick up some of those gloves that the Packers and Raiders have been wearing.
We talked about equipment. This glove is normally warm and is good in warm weather. It's tacky, but on a day like today, this will freeze. Most of these good receivers are using the Aqua glove. This glove right here, this doesn't freeze, and it keeps a pretty good rubber surface here to catch the ball with. And just to protect your hands from a hard ball coming at you.
Well, I saw you with the Aqua glove on earlier. You've taken it off and have gone to your mittens. This is Green Bay just trying to grind out the clock. Edgar Bennett with the carry.
I know that Green Bay's excited about the fact they did get some run going today, Dan. I know that's what they've talked about. And as they position themselves now for the playoffs and go for a division title next week, having a well-balanced offense, the way that defense is playing right now, hey, these guys have a chance. These guys look like they're playoff-bound team that's going to do something in the playoffs, not just get there, but do something.
And we'll keep it on the ground again, which will give us a chance to remind you what you can view on NBC tonight. 2 great movies on. One filled with adventure, the other with a miracle just in time for the holidays. First, a special 2-hour Sequest adventure starring Roy Scheider, starting at 7 o'clock, 6 Central. Then you're invited to share in a very special miracle, the miracle on I-880. It's the story of the collapsed highway back in 1989 in San Francisco. All of that coming up tonight on NBC. And Brett Favre swings it out to Edgar Bennett on 3rd down and 9. He'll be short of the first down, and we will see Green Bay punt it away. And really, the Green Bay Packer berth into the playoffs really not official until Philadelphia gets this win over New Orleans. But they are in the 4th quarter, and Philadelphia has a 37-19 lead over New Orleans. So really, it's just a matter of time. But the Packer faithful already celebrating here today.
Yeah, I think they're celebrating. What Bennett would like to have done right there, Dan, you don't want to get out of bounds in these situations. Hey, no matter what, as a receiver, and he did get knocked out on the sideline, but managed to stay in. It was a good job by him in this case. Don't go out of bounds. Protect the football as a receiver or a running back.
A pretty good punt by Wagner, considering the frozen conditions, and drives Brown back to the 21, and Brown gets it up to the 30, a 9-yard return for Tim Brown. 51-yard punt by Wagner, who's warming up perhaps for next week's Central Division title clash with Detroit. New Year's Day, don't miss the championship Saturday. College football bowl action, entire day on NBC. It begins at 1 Eastern time. The IBM OS2 Fiesta Bowl with Miami and Arizona. Then Notre Dame takes on Texas A&M in the Cotton Bowl. And finally, the national championship game, Joe, the Federal Express Orange Bowl. Would you care to make a prediction on the national championship game?
It should be a good one. I've got to go with Florida State. I mean, I just think they played an extremely tough schedule. They're battle-tested, and certainly they've been on the verge, and I think they're hungry. Of course, all the Nebraska people now are mad at me. Everybody in
You've done it. Yeah, I was going to say it pretty much clinches the letters for Joe Gibbs. Vince Evans is sacked for a loss and then fumbles the football. Steve Smith falls on it back at the 12-yard line.
I think the wheels are coming off for the Raiders right now. I think they're in a mode where all they can do is throw the football, and Green Bay's teeing off. And of course, Green Bay's got some darn good pass rushers over there.
Well, John Yurkovich.
Here we take a look at
Eastern Illinois.
Really a blown pass protection in this case.
I'll tell you, Yurkovich has really turned into a fine player for the Packer defense. He was undrafted out of Eastern Illinois, originally signed by the Dolphins, as Evans swings it out to Steve Smith. But he was signed by the Packers back in 1991 and has really been a pleasant surprise for Green Bay, and has started the last 10 games as Bill Moss has had problems with an Achilles injury. And what a job the Green Bay defensive front has done, of course anchored by Reggie White. 3rd down and 19 now. 7 sacks for that Green Bay defensive line as Evans skips it into James Jett, incomplete. And there is Reggie White. You know, the guy doesn't get a sack for 4 games and starts to get a little criticism here in the local papers in Green Bay. And like we mentioned earlier, he says, hey, I'm playing as well as I've ever played. That doesn't really matter if you're racking up the sacks numerically.
Well, if I was the coach and if I thought that the papers helped get him upset, I think I'd have to be talking to the papers. Hey, write something critical about Reggie White. Because the way he's played today, he's been like a man possessed over there.
Well, the Raiders can do nothing more than just punt it away. Gossett's punt angling to Mike Pryor at the 45, and Pryor takes it into Raider territory, close to the 45. Joe Kelly ran him out of bounds. 35-yard punt. And And we'll take another opportunity to remind you that NBC Sports presents the final weekend of the NFL regular season with doubleheader action beginning at 12:30 Eastern with NFL Live. And most of you will see an AFC West matchup between the Seahawks and the Kansas City Chiefs, or regional action. And in the second half of the doubleheader, most of you will see these Raiders battle the Broncos, or regional action. And whether the Raiders will still have a shot for a playoff berth, we really don't know at this point. But they would obviously need some help in order to have a shot in the final weekend. Favre's pass to Sterling Sharpe, who has had a sterling game, and Sharpe down to the 27. That is the 7th reception for Sterling Sharpe, already over the 100-yard mark again.
Well, this is that little stop route on the outside. I'm a little surprised the Raiders are laying back here. You got to figure, I would, that Green Bay is going to be looking to kind of conservatively run the ball, and I'd be thinking putting everybody to the line of scrimmage and press on the outside. But if they stay back like that, that little stop route is very effective. It's better than any run you could do.
I'll tell you, also with one game remaining, he may even get it in this game if he gets a couple more receptions. As we look at Darrell Thompson, but Sterling Sharpe with 7 receptions, 106 on the year now. Needs just 2 to tie the record he set last year, 108. 3 will break it, so you figure Sterling Sharpe's going to surpass last year's mark.
Yeah, one of the things we used to emphasize too, Dan, in practice, we would tell our offensive team, hey, we would take 4 shots running the ball at the end of practice. And against an 8-man front, and we'd say, look, there comes a time in a game when they know we're going to run, we have to run, and we still have to be effective, and that's the situation right now for Green Bay. The Raiders know they got to run. Hey, they still got to be able to run the ball effectively.
2nd and 3, Edgar Bennett will get nothing. We'll mention also that Darrell Thompson has another 100-yard game. He had his first versus Tampa Bay a couple of months ago. And he has the Packers' only 2 100-yard rushing games on the season. He has 16 carries for 103 yards, and of course the 1-yard touchdown plunge earlier in the game. There's Darrell Thompson, the former #1 pick out of Minnesota. He had 40 touchdowns as a Golden Gopher. Edgar Bennett. Edgar Bennett inside the 20, and he's got a Packer first down.
This is also a point in the game where if you're Green Bay, you may want to put in extra tight ends to be blocking those 8-man fronts. It's hard to block them with just 2 tight ends in there. This is a heck of a run right here. This is a great job of balance going over the top. That was a heck of an individual effort right there.
6-yard gain by Bennett.
Green Bay just wanting to keep that thing on the ground. They're going with 2 tight ends right now, trying to balance up the set right here and run away from the safeties when the Raiders put them up there.
1st and 10. And this is Thompson. Bangs off one Raider and gains nothing down to the 15-yard line. An interesting note to make also, Joe, a 7-0 game at halftime. Really looked like it was going to be perhaps a 7-0 game, 10-0 game, something of that sort. But the Packers reeling off 21 second-half points to all of a sudden make it a blowout.
Yeah, really for Coach Shell and the Raiders there, they had a tough day on offense. Really couldn't get anything going. They've had a tough time running the ball here late in the year. And today, with Hostetler getting knocked out, Vince Evans comes in, gives them a little spark, but nothing really that they could sink their teeth into on offense.
Good fake by Favre as Thompson gets it to about the 15.
We played a game up here. It was extremely cold, and I sent one of our assistant coaches out in the field, and I said, come back and give me a report of what it's like. He walked halfway through the players' locker room and yelled at me from the players' locker room, Dan. He said, it's the coldest I've ever been in my life. And I looked around. I never used to like to say anything like that in front of the players. All of them turned around, dove into their lockers, and started pulling out all the underwear and heavy gear. I told our assistant coach, never do that again. You're supposed to always put on a good front in front of the players.
Well, this is a time when the Los Angeles Raiders probably can't wait to get back on that plane and head back to the West Coast. A warm airplane. Now, before the game, we had a chance to shoot Al Davis in his, I guess that's as good a split of California garb and cold weather wardrobe that you could possibly have. But is that a classic shot of Al Davis? Or what?
I like his style there with the pointed toboggan hat and yet the big chains hanging down from the glasses.
And Al Davis very disappointed, I'm sure, as well as Art Shell and the rest of the Raiders. Their last regular season game against the Denver Broncos. They beat the Broncos 23-20 earlier in the season. And they'll have the Broncos at the Coliseum next week. But as we mentioned, the Raiders will need some help if they're to be in the playoffs.
As we talked to some of the Raiders last night, they made the point that Art Shell's been there 4 years, had a chance, and still has a chance this year to get in the playoffs 3 of those 4 years. And certainly he's done a fine job for them. And I think they like the big guy. He's my Slim Fast partner when we were doing our Slim Fast commercials. And but is trimmed down and looks good and says he's feeling good right now. Had that spell of being sick earlier in the year.
Well, way back in the first quarter, Chris Jacke missed a 37-yard field goal. All he's been doing since then is tacking on extra points. This will be a 30-yard field goal for Jacke. And this one will be no good. So Jacke 0 for 2 in the field goal department today. And Green Bay hasn't had much need for the three-pointer, as they have scored all their points on touchdowns and extra points. And
this will come back, I'm sure, in the playoffs. And this is going to be something they're going to have to get done. Of course, if they get home field advantage, play on this field. But if anybody's got experience here, it's Jacke. Well, he ought to be able to kick on this kind of turf.
We mentioned that Chris Jacke was having his best season. He was tied for second in NFL scoring with a career-high 116 points. He's missed the field goals today. First in the NFL in scoring at the outset of the game was Jeff Jager, the Raider kicker. But he has come up with nothing today, so Jacke is taking over that lead.
And I think he's second in the all-time percentage on field goals, only to Lowry, I think. And they just signed a new long-term contract, too, here with the Green Bay Packers.
Well, in the fourth quarter, Philadelphia leading the Saints, key game that the Packers are watching. 3:30 left here, second down and 7 for Vince Evans. Vince Evans will go down again. And the Packer defensive front will get credit for another sack. Tony Bennett along with his buddy Reggie White.
Yeah, it's not been a sharp passing game by the Raiders. The quarterbacks, Hostetler and Evans both have been going back and taking the ball, and they don't throw the ball when they sit back here. You can see them kind of wait, and it's coverage sacks because there's nobody to throw to, and then when they hold the ball, then they're in real trouble because I think Reggie came out there with the ball again. How's that guy as a defense? I think we ought to put him as a fullback and let him carry it some. He has a knack for getting that thing even as a defensive lineman.
8th sack for Green Bay. Vince Evans this time dumps it over the line of scrimmage to Jordan. And Jordan gets up across the 25, brought down by Darrell Buckley as we move under the 3-minute mark. Well, the Packer defense has not allowed a rushing touchdown. They came into the game going 24 quarters without allowing a rushing touchdown, and looks like perhaps they'll go another 4 more. So now 28 quarters for the Green Bay defense without allowing a rushing touchdown.
There should be a lot of celebrating going on in Green Bay.
And the crowd is chanting Reggie, Reggie.
Yep.
Evans with some time intended for Alexander Wright, incomplete.
Who would think that $16 million would be a bargain? I think in this case it was a bargain. day. The fans here saluting the Green Bay defense.
The last shutout, more than 2 years ago versus Tampa Bay. Green Bay with a chance to make the playoffs in style with a shutout over the Los Angeles Raiders. Looking for their first division title in 21 years, the first non-strike playoff berth in 21 years. They went to the Super Bowl tournament, Joe, back in the strike season, back in 1987.
Yeah, they had mentioned that, but I don't know that they count that when they were saying that this is certainly Mike Holmgren, the job he's done here. I mean, these fans are excited, and to get home field is a big deal here too, because somebody else has got to come here, Dan, and play in this and play on this frozen field.
Darrell Thompson.
That's going to be a big advantage if they can get some home field. That's why that game next week will be so important to win the division. There's only been 2 teams that have ever won a Super Bowl that didn't win their division, so that'll be a big game next week.
The 2-minute warning. Green Bay in command.
Turn it up. Portable stereos devour power. But the music goes on and on with Rayovac Renewal, a new kind of alkaline battery created to be reusable. They outlive those bunny batteries because they're reusable 25 times or more. They outperform old-fashioned rechargeables because you get alkaline power in every charge. More power, more music. That's the power of renewal from Rayovac.
During the holidays, one of the great things about living out here is looking for the perfect tree. Sometimes when we find one, we just leave it. Season's greetings from our families to yours.
The Chiefs, the Seahawks, Montana meets Meyer when 2 former Notre Dame greats go head-to-head as AFC West leading KC fights for the postseason home field edge. Then the Broncos, the Raiders, Elway and Hostetler square off in a battle with playoff implications. An NFL doubleheader next Sunday on NBC.
Yes, the first playoff berth in 21 years will bring out the craziness of all.
You're going to see that guy at the emergency center in about an hour, probably. We talked about the field having some heating coils. I think that guy's got some heat from inside there, something to drink there.
We'll take this time. The executive producer of NBC Sports is Tommy Roy. The coordinating producer of NBC's football coverage is John Paratzis. Today's game produced by Terry Ewert, directed by John Gilmartin. Associate Director Brian Orentrike, our production associate Billy Zager. The spotters today up here in the booth managed to brave the cold elements as well. Dave Stevepak and Tom Miskella, the spotters. Statistics. It's so cold they're having a hard time even pronouncing. Say statistics.
I can't right
9
now.
below wind chill factor.
My mouth is not working.
Stats men Bob Catalano and Tom Rizzo. Stage manager Barbie Patterson. Our thanks to all of you.
I think it's important too for Green Bay.
These shots. Tell you, director John Gilmartin has had fun with the Lambeau Field crowd today.
I think this game comes at a good time offensively, you know, for Green Bay, Dan, that they've run the football. Favre's made some plays. He's not made big mistakes today, not thrown interceptions, and I think this is a real confidence builder for him. Comes at a good time, right before the big game with Detroit next week.
Under a minute. And then Mike Holmgren can really celebrate. 45-year-old Mike Holmgren stands 6 feet 5 inches tall. He's a huge man on the sidelines for Green Bay, an imposing figure, and has done a magnificent job. The former 49ers quarterback coach and offensive coordinator for 6 years, now a head coach. We
had a great talk last night, Mike and I did, Dan, and talking just about football and everything, and I was asking him about Saturday. He said, well, Saturday's the one afternoon where him and his wife and the kids get to do something. We were talking about that. Great job by that guy. And a tough day for Art Shell.
And the clock stopped with 25 seconds left. We were told before the game that if the Packers did win and clinch a playoff berth, that the police here at Lambeau Field would take special precautions as to avoid a massive swarm of fans going after the goalposts.
Yeah, we've had some problems with college games this year, as we mentioned, and they beefed up security here.
And
it's been a long time. These people are hungry.
Yeah, I would say so. 1972. As that will be the final snap. And the Green Bay Packers, 21 years out of the playoffs, are finally back in postseason. Art Shell and the Raiders hope they get some help. The Raiders fall to 9-6, and the Packers improve to 9-6. So the final score, Los Angeles loses it 28-0 to Green Bay. And remember, New Year's Day, NBC's bowl lineup, beginning with the IBM OS2 Fiesta Bowl, Miami and Arizona. Then it's the Mobile Cotton Bowl with Notre Dame and Texas A&M. And finally, it's the national championship game, #1 against #2, at Nebraska and Florida State in the Federal Express Orange Bowl. It all begins at 1 o'clock Eastern Time on New Year's Day. So for Joe Gibbs, I'm Dan Hicks saying so long from a celebratory Lambeau Field in Green Bay. Now stay with us for the Head and Shoulders post-game.
Our wedded bliss could be over. All we have left are 2 NyQuil liquid caps of these other pills.
You take the liquid caps. You've got a big day tomorrow.
Why should you suffer? I'll take these.
But then you could still be up tonight with a sore throat and a cough, and you need the rest more than me. I insist.
The power of liquid medicine the way you want it. Vicks NyQuil.
From the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan, the NFL on CBS brings you the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions for the NFC Central Division Championship. Hello, everyone. I'm Tim Ryan with Matt Millen here at the Silverdome. The Packers going for their first playoff victory since 1972. And, Matt, everything on the shoulders of this young quarterback, Brett Favre, but he's got quite a weapon in Sterling Sharpe.
Heck, not only quite a weapon, the only weapon. In my opinion, Sterling Sharpe is the most valuable player in the National Football League. And the reason is very simple. He has 106 catches. He can break his own record. Everybody in the house knows he's going to get the ball, and he still comes down with it. But offense has not been the only thing for the Green Bay Packers. They have gone from number 22 to number 2, mostly because Reggie White has come in the second half of the year, has really solidified this defense. Jurkovich has played well, Pop has played well, Butler's played well, but Reggie White has gotten them over the hump.
The Detroit Lions started off 7-2, Matt. They lost 3 in a row. A lot of people thought maybe the season was over for them, including us. They made some changes, the most dramatic, the firing of Dan Henning.
Yeah, they fired Henning, and they brought in Dave Levy. Now, Levy, to me, was a very good choice. What he is, he's a people guy. He affects people. He doesn't go off the strip. What he does, he gets in here, gets a feel for the game. Now, the player that's affected most by Levy has been Eric Kramer. What he's asked Kramer to do is play within yourself. Don't force the ball. Use the weapons you have. Go out and get the ball into the hands of Herman Moore.